uh, because I do solo, but I've workshopped all my plays. And part of residencies, and here's Barbara. Part of residencies, hi Barbara, is you're doing them to get information out about the show. They're like a commercial for your show. Yes, they're for development, but mostly they're for theaters to get to know you and presenting venues and to understand what the show is about. Okay. Um, my first thought about solo shows is that people overcomplicate them always. Always, 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 always. That's my first thing. So I developed my play at several. I did a classical theater of Harlem. I did New York Stage of Film. I did the retreat with New York Theater Workshop. Then I did an in-house retreat there. And then, I went upstate to Vassar and all this stuff, right? The comment that I got over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because I was doing sections, presenting it as I worked on sections. So I would do a 20-minute presentational section, right? I had this 20-minute version of the show that I could do anywhere. Is when I first saw you just standing on the stage with a script and a music stand, it was like the best solo show I've ever seen. Whoopi Goldberg show, it's the best solo show I've ever seen. It's the best. Hey, Barbara, join us visually. Because solo work at its best is storytelling, straight storytelling, and watching you transform. Because generally people hate solo plays. Like there had been a whole variety of them right before me that theaters were doing. And, a couple of artistic directors got really straight with me. They were like, yeah, I know this particular solo show that won all these awards was a hit, but my subscribers hated it. They were like, I want to see people in different environments, whatever, right? And I looked at that and I was like, well, how was Whoopi able to do that? Whoopi's very first show. Each monologue has a beginning, middle, and an end. It has a compelling beginning. The compelling beginning is always a problem. Her first one, I'm a drug addict and I can go to jail or I can get this plane ticket. Like it has immediacy. It has to be solved right now. So we're like, oh, well, you better. So we're obviously saying, let's get the plane ticket. Okay. So the little girl with the sheet, the sheet on her head. The problem is, and she states it in the beginning. My name is such and such. It's clear that, the way she's talking is she's a little black girl. And then she says, and I want long blonde hair. That's the problem. So, every single mother, every single black person in the audience is going, oh, she can't want to be a white child. Like everybody has a way to tap into that problem. It's the simplest story structure. What makes the person start talking? And in solo work, it needs to be this super heightened problem, okay? The stakes have to be really, really, really high because you're gonna play lots of different people with arguing points, okay? In a traditional show, you have a protagonist and an antagonist in a regular well-made play with multiple people acting in it, okay? You have an antagonist and a protagonist in every single scene. There's a problem. The antagonist is trying to stop the protagonist from doing something. The protagonist has to learn something new in order to solve the problem that the antagonist has created. So by the end, the protagonist has learned something because they solved a problem. The same exact thing has to happen in a solo show. Otherwise, we're like, am I watching modern dance? Is it Bill T. Jones? Is it Alvin Ailey? Or is it, why is there a video? Is it a Michael Moore documentary? I don't know. All that other stuff gets in the way of story. If there's no story, we're not going with you because you're one person and I just paid $75 for this ticket. This bitch better be funny. There better be a laugh a second, right? The best stand-up has story, beginning, middle, and end. There's a problem, right? You look at on Sunset Strip, all of Richard Pryor's stuff, who's one of my major influences, is he starts with a problem. White people are crazy because they think black people want to come and live in their neighborhood where we'll get killed. Like, like he sets up a problem and then he explains, let's play this problem. Okay, maybe I do go to that neighborhood. Let's see what happens, right? Or his grandmother was such a harsh motherfucker, and then he becomes her. And you learn, he was like, yeah, my grandma was like this, and she did this, and she did this. It's like, well, it's because she ran a whole house. And everybody's like, oh, your grandmother ran a whole house. No wonder she was so hard on you. He's like, and this is what I learned in the whole house, right? So he gives you these heightened problems. He plops you right in the middle of the problem immediately. Solo shows that don't do this, we don't care. Unless you have a gimmick. People have a gimmick, they're gonna burst into song. In which case, why didn't I just go see a musical? The story is the most important thing. What makes you start talking? And what is the problem? Get specific. You start talking because there's a huge problem. It's a dilemma, okay? And in the course of the first monologue or scene, you need to get some leverage towards solving that problem, right? Or you give us more details about that problem so it becomes more and more complicated. You're like, well, yeah, the little girl wanted blonde hair. But see, actually, she's really black and poor. She can't even get a wig. All she could get was a t-shirt. And then nobody in the neighborhood believed that it was real. And she was like, I can't believe they don't believe that my t-shirt is my blonde hair, right? See how the problem gets more and more complicated. We overcomplicate solo shows and people hate them. People go to see a solo show for a couple of reasons. We go to see a solo show to hear the life story that we can identify with. They're like, there by the grace of God go I. Like, they're like, you did what? Oh, I feel better about my life already. Your mother was a psychopath? Oh my God, seriously? Wait a minute. And your daddy drank? And then he hit your mama? Oh, because your mama was drinking. Oh, Lord. Oh, we're like, I feel so much better about my life. But take me in. Take me in. Complicate the problems and complicate the characters. That's it with solo shows. You don't need no whistles. You don't need no bells. You don't need no special photography sliding. You actually don't need any of that if the person is a compelling storyteller and the narrative has a clear beginning, middle, and end. Okay? A clear inciting incident. And because you've done all this emotional chords and true nodes work, you understand each character's biggest fear, their major life lessons that they're put here to learn. You understand the subtext of each character, which is really important for solo work because people are always in solo work. The characters seem so big because they are completely driven by their subconscious that they never discuss with anybody. And in a solo show, it's like the characters are jumping off the page and saying, okay, I know in that last scene, I said I really wanted to go to that college, but really I just want to stay here and live in my mama's house and never leave. Like, they tell the truth. It's why we stay in it, okay? So solo shows have a person with a huge problem. And the immediacy is you got an hour to resolve this problem, but it's a life problem, okay? So now you've got the constraints of time and you have stakes. And so it drives the protagonist to go to these different places, different characters, different situations to solve this overreaching problem. And it needs to be big like that in solo work. So a solo work is bigger than in a regular multi-person play, is because you're playing both people. So if I'm playing the protagonist and the antagonist, one person is always driving the scene, the other person is reacting. That's drama, right? If it's just you,